Hello, my loves, and welcome to my channel. Effective ways to get rid of toxic relationships, toxic friendships in particular. Because my one and only agenda is to make you feel better, I will tell you 3 effective ways of getting rid of that toxic friend in your life. But before we get into it, I have to say a few things, just to set ground rules. 1, don't assume you can help or fix your toxic friend. I know that most of us have this quote unquote good agenda and good intentions toward others, and we want to be the Superman or Superwoman and to fix that broken friend or that toxic friend. But change must come from within. The second rule is that when you walk away, you don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to give an explanation. You don't need to say, I'm leaving you because you did this on that day, or you did that last week, or you just don't need to explain yourself, okay? It's not an obligation. It's not a moral obligation. And the third ground rule is that you are doing the right thing. Cutting toxic friends off is the right step to take. Maybe your conscience actually gets in the way, but don't let your conscience get in the way of making the right decision to advance your life. This is something that you need to be aware of, actually, because our conscience is not wise all the time. Sometimes it gets us into situations that we're not supposed to be in. Don't always trust that voice of conscience of yours saying, my friend was crying when I left her alone that week. Well, she's crying because of certain reasons that I will explain to you later in this video. Not everyone who cries is good for you or good for your life, because some of the tears are tears of regret, and we don't even know that, right? We cry because we're losing something they used to give us, and then we took it for granted, and now we don't have it, and so we cry because we don't have it anymore. That does not mean that you would jump right back into that toxic circle because you just feel bad for your friend. Do you understand what I mean by don't trust your conscience 100% of the time? Conscience is great, don't get me wrong, it's great, but sometimes it's misinformed by the toxic people in our lives. You probably know that narcissistic people, for example, they try to guilt you into doing something that is harmful to you, and they use your conscience against you. They misinform it, give it wrong information, and so when you act on your conscience when it's not wise, that's a step that you will have to be careful about. Okay, so now we're going to get into the 3 effective ways of getting rid of that toxic friend. How to practically do it in real life. Here's the first step that worked for me. Disappear. Don't take phone calls. Don't respond to messages immediately. Just become way less responsive to your toxic friends. Let's say they want to meet up today, so they call. Don't answer. Respond tomorrow with an excuse that you will be busy the whole week. How about that? They will be alarmed. They will feel threatened, so they will try to ask you direct questions like, what's going on? Something wrong? Toxic people are intuitive people, and they know when their jig is up, okay? And they will try to fight for you. Don't take it romantically, all right? They can't give you up. You're their precious person who was able to keep up with their maltreatment and still show up for them and comfort them and be generous to them. Who would give up such a person? I mean, really, they know how amazing you are, and they are not about to just let that walk away from them. So expect frantic efforts to keep you in their lives. And this is where I need your ultimate focus and attention. Step number 2 is to keep your cool and pretend nothing's going on. You can go about this differently. You can confront them. You can expose what they did to you. You can count their mistakes. You can say the truth. But know that all it will do is make you lose a lot of energy and a lot of time. And you will be speaking to someone who will never admit what they've done or who they are. And if you want to confront them in order to drive them into changing, take it from someone who tried. They will never change for you or because of you. The only person who can change a toxic person is the toxic person themselves, period. So step number 2 is to pretend nothing's going on and that you're just focusing on yourself right now. If they ask what's going on, just say, I'm just focusing on myself. I'm pretty busy with that, with this. whatever, okay? Just don't be specific also. Don't give them details because that's how they, creep back into your life. Okay? And this is definitely what you will be doing. Actually, this is not a lie. You will not be pretending. You will be surprised at how much energy you will find to put to use in advancing yourself and your life once you cut those people off. Okay? So when they come at you with questions, trying to appeal to your emotional side or trying to manipulate you into feeling guilty, respond not with your emotions, but with your mind. Remember that you are in a mission to save yourself, and you will know what to say. It'll just come to you, okay? So the second step, the second thing that you should be doing is hide your intentions. Don't go about telling your friends that you want to cut them off in order to focus on healing. I mean, this is not something that you should be explicit about or that you should be honest about. Because this will provoke them into releasing a drama that you don't need at the moment. If you tell them, I'm hurt because you did this and that, and you're a bad friend, and you're toxic, and you did this and that, then they will absolutely deny the whole thing. They will deny everything, and it will leave you absolutely frustrated that they didn't give you the closure, or that situation of confrontation did not give you the closure that you need. And let me tell you something, you don't need closure. All you need to do right now is to cut those people off and move on with your life. And closure will come as you heal yourself, as you move on, as you advance, as you surprise everybody with the things that you can do. Because trust me, you can do great things. You just can. And I know that you can, because people who are toxic, they don't befriend anyone. They befriend the special people. They befriend you because they know that you have potential, and they see that potential, and because they're toxic, they want to sabotage it. So the third thing that you need to be doing with toxic friends is different than with family members. Friends you can completely cut off, but with your family members, you'll have to simply put boundaries. Let me tell you why keeping a toxic friendship is not worth it. It will do nothing but harm you. Even when you decide to put boundaries and try to manage the situation, even if you decide to see them, every once in a while or once a month, for example, you'll say to yourself, that's not much. It will be one meeting you could do without. It will be a time you could put in better use. You have to love yourself enough to close your borders on every ill-intentioned and harmful person in your life. Let me say that again. You have to love yourself enough to close your borders on every ill-intentioned and harmful person in your life. It's up to you. It's always up to you. You are the sum of your decisions. Your life is the sum of one decision after another. If you make the right decision, then you will see better consequences. It's as simple as that, okay? So keep that in mind in your journey to cut those toxic people off. And I'm sure that you can do it, by the way. But my advice is to cut them off completely, okay? Don't drag this. Don't say, well, she's my childhood friend. Well, it's like you have cancer and you're saying, it's been with me for years, so I kind of want to keep it every once in a while. But it's causing you pain. And it's not going away until you cut it off. If you hang out with them every day, they will hurt you every day. If you hang out with them every once in a while, then they will hurt you every once in a while. It's as simple as that. And trust me, the huge gap that you will feel at first will be later filled with joy, self-care, and advancement. Just try and see, all right? So instead of establishing boundaries, just cut them off. You deserve better. You know that. So the final step is do not look back. Do not question the decision that you made. Do not question your decision to leave. And this is the most important step in keeping the toxic people away from you. Because if you hesitate or question yourself even a little bit, the cycle will be reestablished, and you don't want that. You don't want that. So be firm and be confident in your decision. Walk the path that you have chosen confidently. At first, you would feel isolated because you don't have close friends that could fill the gap. But remember that that gap is meant to be filled by yourself. Being alone for a while is part of healing. And finally, my loves, remember that toxic people choose great friends who are empathetic, generous, and special. And that's who you are. You deserve to meet a friend who's just like you. You are strong enough to walk away from any relationship that's harming you. It's both your right and your responsibility. Your happiness is one decision away. I love you. Stay tuned.